Hey y'all, today is the season finale of season 3 of the J Card, and we are lucky enough to talk to the wonderful Lamar Woods. Lamar has a new album out right now called Rebel Love Language. Lamar is also a producer, writer, and comedian. In our conversation, we talked a lot about the writing process behind Rebel Love Language and the openness and vulnerability in his writing, and of course the ever-present struggle of how do you market yourself when you're a multifaceted creative? Are you a musician? Are you a writer? Are you a producer? We also get into his mixtape, obviously, and then we play Build the Bill, the New York City Hip Hop edition. It is a fun episode. If you want to support us, you can do so at tapeclub.substack.com. And yeah, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Lamar. All right, Lamar, thank you for being here. I'm super pumped to talk to you. Appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's so great to meet you. You know, I know we've been trying to get it going for a while, but I couldn't wait to do it because I love music and I love talking about it.
Well, you know what's funny? So it's like every time we've tried to set this up, it's gotten moved a little bit. And even today, it got moved a tiny bit. And I took the last 10 minutes before we started to watch a little bit of that interview you did with Susie Barrett. And it informed me and cut a couple of my questions. I was like, wow, I don't need to ask that again.
Oh, wow, that's dope. Yeah, I love that interview. That was great.
Let's start with Rebel Love Language. So it dropped a couple months ago in December. How long had it been in the works?
You know, honestly, it was a real spur of the moment type thing. Like, I honestly didn't plan on putting out any music last year. I still was kind of promoting the album before, Highly Sensitive Person. And I was kind of, for lack of a better word, depressed or something. I don't know. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just make an album and put it out fast and see if I can do it, but it still be quality. And I was just kind of like, I just want to put something out. And then it was going to be about something else. Like it was going to be about it was such a stupid idea now, but maybe it'd be cool. But it was like a Bachelor, basically a remake of like the first Black Bachelor. Remember when they had that Matt James guy and he was like the Black Bachelor? So I was going to do that. And then I was just like, everything was going on in the world, and I was just like, couldn't really write anything that wasn't about what was going on in the world. So I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to just put this shit out. I'm really not feeling the whole thing with ICE and just with our government. And I was just like scared to do it, but I said I wasn't really sure I was going to do it. I was like, let me just like record the songs, and then if I like it, I'll put it out. And I think that whole process probably was like 3 months, like from beginning to end. It was like very quick.
Yeah, that is pretty quick. I was going to say, I kind of feel you on the, like, you have this concept album idea and you write like a good verse or a good half a verse. And you're like, okay, I'll come back to this later. And you open your phone and it's like, this person got murdered. And you're like, yeah, all right, shit. Okay. Maybe like what I wrote isn't that important.
And it's because it's like when you with your friends and stuff, like, because I'm like usually pretty positive person, like generally, like I like to have fun and party, but I'm like, most of the people around me, if you ask them what we're talking about, it's like usually what's going on in our country right now. So it's like it felt weird to rap about other shit. And I was like, well, that's not clearly what I'm thinking about at all. Like I'm thinking about what's going on in the world, you know. So and it was cool trying to balance that out with me being a comedian and trying to be serious, but also still making it feel light and a little tongue in cheek and not too like preachy or anything like that.
Yeah. And I noticed that in it. It was like there was a lot of political stuff happening, but it was balanced. You know, there was a lot of punchlines and stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit. It had a lot of outwardly political ideas. Highly Sensitive Person was largely introspective. They are both, though, very vulnerable. So what was the process like, I guess, for you to start writing in such an open and vulnerable way, or has that always been something you do?
No, that wasn't. I would say in writing, like film writing and TV writing, it has been always the core. And I think that's probably from learning through improv. Like, I think comedy in general is very hard to do if you're not being vulnerable, because you have to be willing to be laughed at and be embarrassed, which was very easy for me in comedy, but in rap music, it's not so easy because the whole thing of rap is like I want to be I want to be cool, like street gangster. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the guys I looked up to were cool. Like they weren't like you see. I remember I went to a Kanye West concert and Lupe Fiasco. Remember when he had that song? The first song that Lupe was on.
Yeah, Touch the Sky.
Yeah, Touch the Sky, that one, yeah. So I didn't know who Lupe was yet, but I heard of him and I love that verse. And then I watch him and it comes out. And of course, Kanye has this huge spaceship on the stage. And then, like, Lupe just trips and falls, like, on the ground. And it's, like, not funny. You know what I mean? There's nothing funny about this because of, like, how dope his verse is, how dope a rapper he is. So I think that is something that I'm, like, struggling with as a rapper. And so the first 2 albums I did was Wine Bars, and album called Vacation at the Villa was very shallow, I would say, like, a lot about, like, spending money and stuff like that. And I think Highly Sensitive Person was my first attempt at that. And I think once I finished it, I was like, oh, this is something, even if people don't fuck with it, it's like I feel more comfortable promoting this and putting it out there because I believe in it and I know that it's true. And if anyone has a problem with it, then they can kind of go to hell because I'm like, that's just how I feel. You know, it's like I'm not like fronting or making anything up. You know,
that's really interesting to hear because I was about to ask about like if you were used to promoting the more like punchliney stuff and then you had a deeper thing. I was gonna say, like, did it make you feel like tingly to promote that and go, hey guys, here's the real shit? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I would say not for Highly Sensitive Person because that was something I was dealing with, just generally like anxiety, and I think a lot of people were going through that, so I felt very safe, like just and I think with Black men and stuff, with a lot of us don't talk about it enough, so that's something even if I wasn't a musician, I would want to promote. And then but I think with this album, Rebel Love Language, I think that was a little scary just because I generally don't like conflict at all, like in my life, and it's hard for me to like. Even if it seems like an obvious take, a lot of people don't like the president. But for me, it's hard to just like publicly say like, I really don't like, what's going on. It's like, who am I? But I think even if it feels mostly muted, like maybe compared to like Killer Mike or somebody a little more active, for me, it feels like a really big choice. So I am to this day still very like nervous about the album just because it is like a lot of emotional feelings about what's going on, but it's still all within love, and that's sort of the core of the theme of the album, which is like I'm angry, but I'm not. I still love everyone, and I grew up in the South, so I'm not like unfamiliar with people who are on the other side of that. So hopefully they'll listen to it too and fuck with it too, because it's really for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the name, right? It's Rebels Love Language, right? So it's the rebel, but it's still the love is always there. I mean, there's a lot there. I grew up in the South as well. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, which is like,
oh, nice.
I don't know. I got out there. I got out there as quick as I could. So, what I'm saying? I left quickly. But it's the same thing where it's like you're in this melting pot of like other views, whether you like it or not, and you got to like live with them. And it's so I get your, the trepidation to be like, so here's what I'm thinking, but also like, please don't get mad at me.
Right. There's like an empathy there too, where like, living in Los Angeles now, like most of the people I'm surround myself with don't disagree with me on pretty much most things. So, but a lot of them don't know the people I grew up with who may have, voted for that person or did, who are a little more Christian or conservative, whatever. Those people are like my family or people that I went to high school with. So I have like an empathy for that I hope comes through the album. And I think that's why it's love, because it's like, we're not really going to get through it without, love really, unless we really just want to, throw down or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, you're right.
We only got 2 options. It's like the Spike Lee thing, love or hate, It's like,
exactly. It has to go one way or the other. That's what it is. I think it's funny that you brought up the idea of like in rap, right, trying to be cool or whatever, because I think that idea is persistent across all music, right, all genres. Like if you're in a studio session with people, of course the dream is that they're a safety net and you can mess up and it's cool. But if you're in a studio session with someone who you just met, it's not as apparent if that's going to be like a safety place. Whereas like the world of improv is like one of the few creative places where you just walk in and know I can do anything and they're my safety net.
It's so dope. Yeah, I love improv in that way. Like there's so much trust there, and you're like, when you go out on stage, like the whole thing is just yes and like anybody who it doesn't have your, like, before we go on stage, we all tap each other and go, I have your back, I have your back, which is like ironic because I connect with that just from more of a like just a hood kind of like having, watch like everybody I grew up with, we like, I got your back. That's something we would say a lot. But I think in music and in sort of the environment, or at least in the hip hop world, especially in Atlanta, it was just it's so competitive. It's very hard to know who's really has your back or whatever. But I got lucky, and a lot of the people I grew up with are in the rap game too. So, like my shout out to my homie Dro and my homie Nick and David L and all these people who I grew up with. So like they care about the music and want me to be good so I can trust it. But I think it's still hard when it's like, well, I kind of want to do something really different. And, they don't yes and. It's just more like, no, I ain't fucking with that.
Which, there's a good thing about that too. Like, tell me how it is. That's fine. I'll accept it, Like,
I remember my cousin, like, when I did my first mixtape, like before I even got into comedy when I was in high school. And my mom was like, I had put this, I think it was called The Unknown or something. I just remember the album cover had a glacier on it because, it's deeper beneath or whatever. I was really trying to be deep. And my cousin, he's from like East Coast. He grew up in Hartford and, like, always cool. I always thought he was like cooler than me or whatever. And he comes to visit, and my mom goes, "Oh, play as your new hip hop tape. Play it for him." And I go, I'll take him upstairs. I'll play him like one song, and he just turns it off. He's like, "This shit is garbage." It's like, God. just like no regard for my feelings at all.
Yeah,
like, that would never happen in an improv stage. Like
they would tell it to you in a different way. It would be like something like, okay. Good. Like, let's see something else. Like, I like it. We'll get to it if we get to it. Whatever.
Right. Let's build on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's build. Yeah. I got the way I got into music was through making beats, and like,
oh, nice.
I remember, I had a similar situation with a friend of mine where like he generally liked what I made, and then one day, I don't know what I was doing. I made something sampling some like. It was so weird. It was like some old cartoon or some shit. Right. And like, I thought it sounded cool because I was like in it, making it, a little high, probably, whatever. The next day I showed it to him. I'm like, yo, what do you think? And he's like, bro, what is this? And I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. Like, I'll scrap that one, whatever. I do want to talk a little bit about collaboration and relationships. So Rebel Love Language, you worked a lot with Ethan Stout on this. Tell me a bit about that relationship.
Yeah, that was like very kind of, I would say kismet. Like I was like, didn't know a lot of people who were making beats out here. So I was kind of just going on the internet looking for people. And for a highly sensitive person, I had my homie Villa did a lot of production, who is the brother of Curtis Joe, who I rap with a lot, who makes a lot of really, really dope beats. And he made a few. And then I just was kind of like, just to get some different sound, I was just going on like Nas type beat or whatever, just to see like what was out there. And this guy Ethan popped up, and he just was like, and at that time I was really heavy into Griselda and like Rome Streetz and Boldy James and all those types of rappers. So I was kind of like typing in like, who sounds like that? And and his whole catalog was just like on that, and I was just like, this dude is dope. But I never actually met him, and I was like, but I reached out to him. He produced Black Man in Tokyo on Highly Sensitive Person, and he did Beautiful Black Boy. And I was like, those are like my two favorite songs on HSP. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just hit him up, see if he wants to just do the whole thing and see what he says. And he was like, hell yeah. He loved what we did before. And then we ended up working together like that. But I still like, I think he lives in the UK. So like, I actually still haven't met him personally, but we have a relationship. Is he loves the album, and I think he did a great job. So it was really cool working with him.
That's so cool that you found him through like type beats. That is that's like an inspiring story for all young producers out there. Put your type beats on YouTube. Exactly. Someone will find them. Because
it's like you're trying to speak a language. Like everyone makes dope beats, but I'm like, it's hard to like explain. Like if I go into a session with a producer, I'm like, I really want that like boom bap, kind of 1990s, but I don't want it to sound like that. It has to kind of be in you already. It can't just be like, just do that for me, even though mostly what you do is like trap or pop. It's like, it's nice to just know, like, all right, if they're typing that in, they're like, I'm their customer. It's like if they're saying Griselda type beat, then I'm like, then they got me. I'm already ready to go.
I would love to like just know who the first ever person to upload something with type beat was, and do they even realize they created like a vocabulary? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so crazy because it's not like exactly that. It's just like, it's because the internet is so much shit. It's just a way to filter things,
It's the best way to describe it, I want to ask, I guess since we're talking about relationships, I also wanted to ask about features. So there's a few features on this album. On the last one, there was features too. What's the process of getting a feature like for people who may not know? Is it mostly through established relationships, or is it like sometimes cold calls or something like that?
I think it's both. Like, like Open Mike Ego was on my first album, who I was a huge fan of. But I only knew him because he was an actor in my movie that I made, It's a Party, which is on Tubi. Go check it out. But I was a fan of him as a rapper, but the role was a rapper in the film, so I wanted to cast a real rapper. But I never wanted to tell him I was a rapper. Like, I always felt like I got to keep it like, on the filmmaker tip. So I kind of like known him for a long time, and then I was like, all right, I feel good about this song. I'm gonna just send it to him and see what he says. And then he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so that was like a relationship. Then like on this album, we got like Crime Apple, who was just somebody I just slid in the DMs, who I'm just a fan of, and I like his music. And I first heard him on Rock Marciano's album, and I was just like, who is that dude? I just kind of looked him up, and I was like, and then I just started listening to his stuff. But I never thought he would get on my album. I was just he's just a up and coming rapper who's dope out of New York. And I was listening, and I was like, I really want somebody on, just somebody I really admire, like on this, to just come in this, especially the song American Idol, and someone who's like a different ethnicity than me. And I was like, man, Crime Apple would be dope. So I just slid in his DM and was like, you want to do this? And he responded, and I was like, that was cool. So I mean, you just never know, But but I also slid in a couple of people's DMs and they didn't respond. So it wasn't like it was like one and done. It was like it was a bigger process. And then I got my crew Villa Vibes, who are just always going to be a part of it, like, which is Phil Jackson and Curtis Dro and my homie Dre Myers, who did the hook on one of the songs. And so those guys are always kind of like part of the family. But as far as like outside people, it's really a toss up. You never know what's going to get, kind of.
Yeah, it's interesting. It reminds me, this is going to sound fucking weird, but it reminds me of booking this show, kind of, where like I know I've got a couple people, the Olivia, Jamie, who will help me book the show. They'll get it done with me. And then I know that I have a few people I can call on if I need a guest, and then I know I'm just going to shoot my shot with like all these others, and we'll see what happens. So it feels similar.
Yeah, I mean, but the same thing as a type beat thing. You kind of just get feeling energy. Like I always tell people, like younger people who are coming up, especially in comedy, if you see someone that you're like really a fan of, and you really feel like connect to that person, the chances are you'll probably get along with that person because you're usually like pulling from the same influences. Like, I remember there was this comedian, this guy Jacob Womack, was an improviser. I didn't know him at all. I just saw him perform, and I didn't have a lot of connection into the UCB space. But I was like, just a fan of this guy. I was like, this dude makes me laugh every move he does, and I'm just gonna go up to him and after a show and just ask him if he wants to be in my short film. And he did it, and like I would say we're like really close friends now, and that was almost like 15 years ago. And it's like, it makes sense that he made me laugh because we are of the same cloth, And I think the same thing with music too. Like you're saying, and when you hit me up, I was like, yeah, like people would randomly hit you up, but then I was like, oh, this guy seems cool, and like, he seems like kind of like someone that I would hang out with, you know what I mean? Like, so you're like, oh, I'll do this, So it's never like I think sometimes people think it's about status when I think a lot of it is really about like, do I do we have the same taste or do we get along,
Yeah, that makes sense. And I appreciate that. Very kind words. I want to go back to what you said about Open Mike Eagle and how when y'all were talking, you didn't want to be like, oh, I rap too, but I rap too, like whatever. So
hey, check out my mixtape, check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I totally feel you on that. Yes. But I want to ask about that. Like, I have it here written as like in quotes because I didn't know any better way of saying it. Marketing yourself and leading with like musician or writer or producer. Right. Do you ever struggle with that? Or do you have a clear way to draw lines? Have you always seen yourself as like musician first, then this?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about that struggle, I guess.
It's a struggle. I'm still struggling with it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like, I feel like I'm all the things, and I equally, like I just signed with a new manager the other day, and I sent him like my goals or whatever for the year, and he's just like, man, there's too much stuff on here. Like we got to prioritize, And I was just like, I don't know how to prioritize this because it's like they're all equally important to me, and they speak to a different part of me. Like writing and filmmaking makes, pays my rent. So that, that always kind of trumps things. But as far as like passion, I mean, I think this album is probably just as important to me as anything else I was doing. But, so I don't know how to do it, to be honest. I mean, I usually just I usually just point people to Donald Glover because he's kind of like a North Star in terms of like the career path I want to follow. Because he's somebody who does music, but it's not hilarious. It's not like people who like his comedy go to his music to laugh. They like go for it because they like him as an artist. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do that without feeling like it's a completely left turn where you're like, whoa, this guy's now talking about this. And I was just watching him on, like he was on the Kevin Hart show with like playing a football or whatever, where he's just, like a goofball. So it's like trying to figure out how to do that is very hard. If anyone has any advice, I'd be happy to take it because I don't really know.
It's so funny because that's why I asked you. It's because I wanted the advice, but you don't have it either.
Right.
I'm still looking.
Yeah, I think the best thing I think what's helping me now is just like organization. Like today, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this podcast about music. Right after this, I'm going to go do my other podcast about Sopranos. Is all comedy. And it's like, okay, as long as like these things aren't getting pushed to the wayside, I think I can trust the audience is smart enough. Maybe like, I don't know how old you are, but I think I'm a little older where I didn't really come up in the social media era, and I was like already an adult when that happened. But I feel like younger generation, they probably savvy enough to be like, okay, so that must be his improv stuff. Like they might be able to navigate, what I'm putting out in a better way than I think I would be able to. When when I would be like, oh my God, Method Man's in a movie, you know what I mean? Like, but I think now people can follow social media and figure out like, okay, he's a rapper, but I think he's also a comedian. I'm not really into that kind of rap music, but I love comedy. I'm going to check him out on Doughboys. So I'm just kind of trusting the audience to do that. So I'm hoping they do. And it's kind of worked. Like I did the podcast with the Doughboys, and that's a straight up not music related podcast, but I mentioned the album, and like a lot of the audience bought the album off of that podcast. So whether they are whether they're deep hip hop fans, I don't know. I would love to get that feedback from them and see what they think, because it'd be interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say a lot of it too, though, is just people want to support you, right? Like, and that's what's cool is that those audiences can cross pollinate. It's not like, the 90s or whatever, when like you got your agent and they were like, all right, kid, what do you want to do? And you're like, now you're like, I don't know, bro. I just want to do like a little bit of everything, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's really, it's admirable to do all that. Like for me personally, I work a lot in post-production, and over the last like 3-4 years, I've been trying to pivot into like producing and development and even doing stuff like this, like hosting and stuff. And it is so fucking hard because everyone's like, so you're an editor? And I'm like, well, like, yes, yes, but like, I don't want to be.
Right, yeah. And then it's hard to say, I don't want the job I have. I don't want to get that impression, right? It's like, right. It's also a great job, and there's people out there who just want to do that, so it's very difficult. Yeah, it's like I'm blessed that I am able to pay my rent by editing videos in my home office. I am so grateful, you could not imagine. But
I'll produce a fucking show for you for way cheaper because I want my foot in that door, you know? It's a whole thing. Last question before we go to the break. Music has always been kind of your first love, and it has, I imagine, always been with you. Has there ever been a time where it maybe did take a back seat, whether that's just for a few months while you were working on something, or for a couple of years where you felt burnt out, or has music always been right there?
No, it definitely took a back seat. I would say when I first moved to LA, it was fully to do music. Like I had a band out here. I was playing guitar. I had like a little folk band. And for the first year we were doing that. And then once I started doing comedy, and then I got into a writer's room and I started working at New Girl, I think New Girl was like, oh, this is a really intense job that like is taking all my time, and just like, and I wanted to be really good at it. So I had to learn it too, because I was a staff writer. So I didn't really know what I was doing in that space. And for me to like get good at it, I had to kind of focus on it. And I would say music took a back seat all the way from, that was like 2015. I would say all the way till 2020, when I kind of got back into music, which was purely because of the but the pandemic, which we were like just in the house, and I had shit to do. So I was like, so that's why I was making kind of like, I'll make an album called Wine Bars about drinking wine, because I was more kind of just having fun with it. I wasn't really like, I'm gonna try to do music again. But then it like immediately was like, oh shit, this is like me. This is like my shit. Like this is what I used to do. Like even just doing ad libs in the booth, I was like, oh yeah, I used to do this. We're like, yo, yeah, yeah, like all that stuff. You're like, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about all that shit, you know. So definitely, it took a little bit of a little therapy to get fully confident to really get back into music in the way that it is now. Yeah,
it made you feel good. That really, you know.
Yeah.
I think that happened to a lot of people, because I mean that happened to me a little bit too, where, you know, by like the first week I was like, it'll be over in like 2 or 3 weeks, and then by the fourth week I was like, all right, this is great, I get to play Red Dead like all day, it's sick.
Yeah.
And then by the sixth week I was like, all right, I gotta fucking do something.
Right.
I just started doing like some shitty little vlog that I would like text my friends and be like, look at this video I made, and that was like kickstarting like, oh shit, I don't need to just go to an office and edit someone else's shit every day. I can start making some of my own stuff. So yeah, similar idea. I'm glad that you rediscovered the music, because Rebel Love Language is awesome, and Highly Sensitive Person was awesome. And that thing you did with Duts, I thought that was great too.
Oh, you like that? Yeah,
such a different vibe.
I'll tell you what, because you helped me promote my album. I'm gonna send you this song me and Duts did that I haven't released yet, and I'm like trying to figure out. I can't get a sense of like if I should put it out. So I want you to listen to it and then let me know what if you got. And then you got to be honest. So you could be. I
was gonna say do I have to give you the cousin treatment, or I just it's garbage?
Just for this because it's so different from Rebel Love Language, but in a way it's not. So let me know what you think, because I've been kind of sitting on it for a while, and I think I want to put it out, but yeah. So you can help me with that, because you'll be a neutral party. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think Rebel Love Language is like, I'm like very proud of it. I really like it a lot. Like it feels like I actualize. Oh, this is when you know how sometimes you hear your music, you hear yourself making music. Or this is like the first time where I feel like I'm listening to my album and I'm like, this sounds like rap music. Like this sounds like someone made an album, you know. And it's a really great feeling. So I'm glad I got back into it too. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. I'll return the favor. I'll send you some demos too, and then you're gonna be like, why did I ask this guy to send me? All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna get to your mixtape. All right, we're back with the mixtape, and Lamar, you emailed me this mixtape, and you wrote, "Man, this was hard to narrow down. LOL." So you had trouble narrowing it down, but you did. You got it down to 6 tracks. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the theme of this one.
Well, first I was gonna do like a little bit of like my journey through music, but then it was like ended up being like 20 songs, and I was like, okay, so we start out with some East Coast hip hop, then we do some Atlanta stuff, and then we do, you know. So I kind of just like gave up because I was at the gym trying to do it at the same time, and also I was listening to music to work out to, and then I'd be like, ooh, this is good, I should put this on there, and I was like, fuck, dude, I'm never gonna finish it. So I just basically just picked some dope songs. I knew like I try to stick mostly to hip hop just because the album I just put out is really hip hop focused. But we could probably do a whole nother episode just about folk music because I'm a big folk music fan, and I don't know if any folk music made it on there, but I was like, okay, I'll just do some hip hop. Gotta have Nas on there because that's my favorite rapper, and I can't remember what else I put on there. Maybe Olivia Dean is on there.
Yeah, well, so that's a great way to start it. Let's start it with Olivia Dean with A Couple Minutes. That was your first pick. Olivia Dean just won the Grammy for Best New Artist, so she's on everyone's mind right now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about why you picked this track.
I just love it so much. I think I'm going through a breakup right now, so like it's like pretty fresh, and like this song, I listen to it constantly because it just makes me feel. I mean, it makes me sad, but in that way that you're like, it's gonna be okay, as opposed to like, oh, I miss you. It's like I miss you, but I'm like, I love the way she's like, all right, now I'm going back to my life, There go that couch, but now I'm going back to my life, and it's just like it's such a beautiful song, and really it's pretty new. It's probably one of the newer artists that's on that playlist, I think, and I was just like, you know what, let me just put something on here just in case, it's too, like, some of the rap music's too much. I was like, for people listening, I'm like, let them hear some vibes a little bit, some R&B and stuff.
Yeah, we had a guest on a few episodes ago, and Olivia Dean came up in every single segment, and then, a few weeks later, she won that Grammy, and because I was like, damn, Olivia Dean just keeps showing up in my life. This is wild. So maybe I really should go listen to the whole
you'll love
album.
it, yeah. I didn't know I saw her on, because my homie's on SNL, he's a writer on SNL, and I went there and she was performing, but I didn't know who she was. I was like, who's that? And she kind of reminded me of Cleo Soul, who I really love too. And I was like, maybe she's like a pop version of that, but then everybody kept sending me shit like, yo, I think you'll like this. And then that Couple Minutes song was just like, locked me in. I was like, oh, I love this. And then, now she's everywhere. So I don't pretend to be. I'm pretty much on the bandwagon, whatever it is. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you actually saw her live before you heard her recorded stuff?
Yeah.
And how was the comparison?
Because I was in the back, like I wasn't really like what. So where I was standing, I'm not really allowed to like. I couldn't really like be on to watch the stage, but I was like watching it on a monitor or whatever. Like, but I was like, oh, this seems cool. Yeah.
How was did it sound like the album, or was there any differences? Or
it's so hard to remember because it was like so long ago, and to be honest, I don't even remember what song she performed. She probably did that song, but it was like the time from that moment and the time that I actually like started listening to it, I think was so long, I didn't really connect it as like emotionally. I was just like, oh yeah, that's the girl I saw there. But yeah, but she's fucking great. Yeah, this song is so beautiful. I love it a lot.
Amazing. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Let's listen to a couple minutes of it. A Couple Minutes by Olivia Dean. Here we go.
Back on your sofa, of course I still care. Love's never wasted when it's shared.
Next up, it's a classic. It's New York State of Mind by Nas. I know that you love Nas, but tell me a little bit about why you picked specifically New York State of Mind.
Yeah, I think that was when I was struggling. Like, I knew I was going to put Nas on this just because you were like, what's, artists are important to you. So I think Nas is probably one of the first I would say Nas, DMX were like, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I wasn't really allowed to listen to hip hop because of all the cussing and stuff. But my neighbor kind of snuck me a DMX, Dark as Hell is Hot, and I would listen to that all the time. And that kind of, I went from there, then I went to Nas, and I was just like, I could not stop listening to Illmatic, and I just was like obsessed with his whole catalog. And then he kind of inspired me. He inspired me to start rapping. So I was like, Nas has got to be on there. And then New York State of Mind just came about because it's just one of my favorite Nas songs. And I used to I was living in New York last year, and like I was working on this show, and I would have to walk to work, and I used to just like listen to New York State of Mind in New York, and it just was like, it felt like so of the city, and I feel like I fell in love with the song again. And so I think it was just like fresh on my mind because but it always been one of my favorite songs, but just to like experience in the city of New York State of Mind, the flow is so dope. It's just like, boom, when you hear that bass line, that shit is so hard. Yeah. So, I figured why not put that on there?
Yeah, I was going to say like just the feeling of hearing that bass line and like in the background, you just hear like watch out for the closing doors or whatever. And you're like, hell yeah. I'm like, you're like, I'm commuting, motherfucker.
yeah. It's like I'm out here, like I have my bubble coat on, Tim's boots and all that. Like I feel like I'm in New York right now. Yeah.
And then you walk into the office and you take it off and it's like dead quiet. Everyone's like, hey, how was your weekend? You're like, good. Yeah.
I'm just like knocking everything off people's desks. So like, man, get this shit out of here. Like, what's going on with this? Like, no, I'm from New York now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I worked a lot for Complex. They've had an up and down last decade, but like that was always a really, really cool New York type thing to be doing. Like I just remember being in there and just being like, wow, like what the fuck? Like this is New York. It's so cool. I don't know. That's why I was talking. Like you and I talked a little bit about this in the break, but like I just missed the energy of it. And if I had to pick one off of, if I had to pick one off Illmatic, Memory Lane. That was always mine. I just love the laid back shit. You know?
That's so funny. I literally had that. It was between that and New York State of Mind, and I think I don't know why I went with. Like Memory Lane is actually probably my favorite song on Illmatic. That's funny. We got to see. I knew we had the same taste, but New York. I was just like New York State of Mind is just like just the energy I'm feeling in that moment. Maybe because I was out the gym too. but Memory Lane is like real. What I love about Nas, and I have a lot of family that's been locked up and been in prison in the part of the prison system, and I love that Nas. He's always makes sure to like shout out people who have been locked up, like in his songs. Like he always talks about that, even though he's not someone who has a record or has been in prison like that. And I always appreciate that because I feel like it seems like he feels like he has to acknowledge that these people they're in this system and we can't forget about them. And he does that a lot in Memory Lane, which is dope. Yeah.
That's what he says, right? He raps for listeners, blunt heads, fly ladies, and prisoners. That's it.
Exactly.
That's the only four though, and I guess I'm a listener.
I'm a listener.
All right,
I'm a listener.
yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess I could be like a fly lady. I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's listen to New York State of Mind by Nas. Here we go.
The city never sleeps, full of villains and creeps. That's where I learned to do my hustle. Had to scuffle with freaks. I'm an addict for sneakers, 20s a Buddha and bitches with beepers. In the streets I could greet you about blunts I teach you.
Next up, we're going a bit south. T.I. with Be Easy. So tell me a bit about T.I.
Yeah, man, I love T.I. T.I. is also probably right up there with Nas in terms of one of my favorite rappers. I would say that song was important to me because when I moved to L.A. from Atlanta, the first 3 years I was really missing Atlanta a lot, and I would just every time I had my Monte Carlo, I drove my Monte Carlo all the way out here from Georgia, and I would drive around the city, and I would just kind of like really miss Atlanta, and I was just like. Every time I played T.I. Be Easy, it would just take me back to that time. Because I would say trap music, which is what Be Easy is on, is probably one of my favorite albums. And like, I just love that album so much. And that era of Atlanta is like so like specific to my childhood that I just like, oh yeah, we got to put Be Easy. And I love the music video too, where everyone's going backwards and shit. That shit is fucking hard.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel about T.I.'s kind of career, because I'm not super familiar with him, but I do I believe his career has been going on now for like his last album in like 2020 something, and his first album was in 2001, so that's a very long career.
Very long.
Tell me a bit about like were your favorites those early days, or has his later work like kept up the pace?
I liked all this stuff. I think his first album, I'm Serious, was very Atlanta. Like that's like even though I don't have like that Southern cadence because I grew up on the North Side, but like I feel like that I'm Serious album was so like Atlanta, like just like very much. If you ever like go to Atlanta, go to Bankhead or Philly, you're like it feels like that album. And but trap music was to me like one of the first times I heard outside of Outkast like a Southern rapper who kind of was very street, but also like. Rap very lyrical and like like it was like the perfect combo of everything that I liked about East Coast hip hop, but just without having to like leave my town, because I feel like I was at the time I was listening to a lot of East Coast music, and I was like, but I'm from Atlanta, I like want to hear some of that shit, and like T.I. just became that. And then I mean honestly, he's one of my favorite rappers, so he didn't really like I never really lost, and he just put out a new song like I think recently, like this year, and it's pretty dope because I didn't even hear it yet until I was trying to make this playlist, and it was on there. I was like, oh shit! And I listened to that yesterday, and I was like, this shit is hard. Like, so I got nothing bad. I mean, he's great. I think he gets underrated a little bit because he's like, I don't know, maybe it's like the South or whatever, but I think like if you look at the trajectory of his career, he's kind of up there with like your Jay-Z's, you know, not Tupac, not like I feel like his catalog is very strong. So I feel like T.I.'s like one of the greats. Yeah.
He's a legend for sure. And that like longevity has always been super impressive to me, just because I remember like a very specific moment when I was like a kid. I was probably in high school, maybe I was in middle school, I don't know, but it was something like, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you know the story, but it was like Jay-Z was like turning 30 and he was like, I'm retiring or whatever, and like we were all like, he's 30, bro, he's done. And now I'm like, oh my god, like I can't believe we were saying that. But
isn't that crazy? Yeah, I think it is something I think about a lot too, because I'm a little older now, and I was like, oh, like, but rap music was so young, like, so some of these rappers are like, who are like Snoop Dogg's like a grandpa now, but like, so was like by the time I had got into like Led Zeppelin or whatever, which we'll probably talk about, it's like these guys were still putting out music in like their 70s, and I just feel like, oh, we just don't know what it looks like yet because the genre is so young. And like T.I. is a good example of somebody who's like fully still young and in his prime, and I think the key is he's evolved as an artist or as a person. So he, you know, maybe he's not like the trap dude as much, but he's wearing suits and more and talking about investment deals and stuff like that. And I think it allows for the artist to kind of grow, and it grows. I'm growing with him because I'm also like, well, I'm not really in the hood anymore. I'm not really in the club like that. So the music kind of needs to adjust with me too. Otherwise, when I listen to younger shit, where like a 21-year-old, I feel crazy. Like that makes me feel like, oh god, like oh my god, it's like I like that's like decades ago, you know. So.
It's an excellent point that like the genre is also still evolving and growing. I had one theory. I think the theory is fucking not really relevant anymore. But when SoundCloud rap was a thing, I was like, people would shit on it, and I'd go, it's fine if you want to shit on it, but this is like punk. Like this is what punk was like in 76, 77 when that shit was really starting. Right. That's what that was. And now looking back on it, maybe that was a stupid take. Who the hell knows? Let's listen.
You'll never know.
Let's listen to a little bit of Be Easy by T.I.
Mention my city, unless you mention my name. T-I-P-I-M-P, I'm the main. Hey, you don't want no trouble with me. Just be easy. The drama ain't nothing.
Next up, we got Rome Streetz with Died 1,000 Times. Tell me a bit about this one.
This was just, I wanted to throw some newer shit on there because I would say Rome Streetz is, you know, one of my favorite rappers that's currently out right now. That's like newer to that's only come out with a few albums, but he's like, I would say like this dude is just like nasty. And I just put it on there because I want to promote him more because I think more people should be listening to him. And that song is one of my favorite songs. He's on his last album, and he did a collab with Conductor, who produces a lot of like Griselda stuff. And I think I just really excited about all those guys out of Buffalo and some of these newer rappers who are also a little older too. They're sort of reclaiming that like 90s era, but it feels new, which is like a lot what I feel like I was trying to do with Rebel Love Language too. So I just think it's just so dope to me to be able to go to a concert and listen to someone, no backing track. Like I went to see Rome Streetz in LA, and he was just bar for bar just going, and you're like, dang, this is just like the old days, but he's trying to come out, like he's putting music out, and it's like new, and it still feels new, even though it has that tint of like old school to it. So I was like, yeah, let's put some Rome Streetz on there, because every time he comes up, I'm like, yo, this dude is like the future. I feel like people need to get on him ASAP.
It's awesome, because that's what I noticed when I heard this one. I'd never heard Rome Streetz until you sent this over, and I listened to it, and I was like, the volume of bars, I guess, like throughout the thing is just insane. Like you can't stop listening or you're just gonna miss everything. So like it was nuts. I was like, man, that's like, it's cool. It is like a callback to a past time. Maybe it's the present, maybe it's the future, who knows? Like maybe melodic stuff is kind of over. I really don't know. I will say Conductor Williams, what's interesting about this guy, He used to make beats under the name D Will, and I remember I discovered
Really?
him back in the day because he did a collab with the guy from Topeka, Kansas, called Stick Figure, and
Shit.
it was so cool. I loved this. Must have been 2010 or something like that,
Right.
something like that. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I downloaded that shit on Bandcamp. I like was listening to it like crazy, and then Conductor Williams came up, and I was like, wait a second, this is D
That's
Will. This is the
crazy.
same guy.
Did it sound? Was his sound the same, or did it was a different type of? beat sound?
It's evolved over time, but like his the ideas are still there. You know, they're still they're similar, right? It's just so cool to me to, again, I'm talking about longevity in a career, but like it is so cool to me that he can stay in it, evolve, and like you know, people think that, oh, this Conductor Williams guy just hit. It's like, bro, he's been working for like 15 years.
He's been
Like,
doing it. Yeah, I think that's so cool too. Like, and some of these guys who have been legends, who were legends in the '90s, are also getting a shot to like work with these younger rappers because they remember coming up with them. Like Alchemist, like I know Alchemist from the Mobb Deep days, and now Alchemist is doing like tapes with Freddie Gibbs and like, you know, Boldy James and all these people. And I'm like, oh, it's like this dude has been in the game, and he's like, he's get to still do his shit, but it's like getting sort of introduced to a new audience through these new vocalists. And same with like, this is a producer named DJ Muggs. I didn't know idea that I kind of had the same discovery moment as you. I didn't realize like he was making a lot of beats for like Rock Marciano and like people, and just like dope shit. And I was like, who is this guy? Then I realized it's the guy from Insane in the Membrane. Why am I blanking on the thing?
yeah, is it Cypress
Hill? Yeah. He's the guy from Cypress Hill, and he's just been producing like all these records. And it's like, so it's dope that like, it's almost like Quentin Tarantino as how he would like find actors who were like, you know, were big back in the day, or like kind of like nuanced, and he would like put them in his new movie, and like people were like, who is that? And you're like, no, this person's been in the game. I think that there's something so dope about that. It makes it for, especially if you're a hip hop nerd like me, you're like, oh yeah, that's DJ Muggs, and then that's Alchemist, and that's like all that shit. Yeah.
It's also so great when you're scrolling through a Wikipedia article and just like seeing who contributed, who the writers were. And it's got some guy with like just a normal name like Craig or some shit like that.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, this is like some normal guy, but why is his name a link? And you click on it and you're like, oh, that's him?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he works with all these people.
Right,
like,
right.
That happened to me the other day when I clicked on a guy and I was like, oh, that's weird. He wrote this song, and it's like he's written songs for like Madonna and like this person and this person. I was like, oh my God, all right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Died 1,000 Times by Rome Streetz.
In the elevator, stayed down till I came up clean and I never hated. Tapped in with some real hitters on the dark side. I've been gang related, neither here nor there though. No love if you switch sides, we don't spit weirdo. Who the stove was hot, still put my palm on the flame just to face the video.
Next up, a little bit of a departure. We got Led Zeppelin with Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. So tell me a bit about this.
Oh yeah. Well, I went to so in college I started learning how to play guitar, and I was sort of transitioning out of hip hop a little bit, and I was like, my teacher, my friend Boz, who was teaching me how to play guitar, he was kind of like, all right, if you want to play guitar, like, here are the like guitarists you should listen to. And at that point I hadn't listened to really any rock, and one of them was Jimmy Page, and so I just like went on a deep dive at Jimmy Page, and then fell in love with Led Zeppelin. And Led Zeppelin was kind of a gateway to like a lot of other music, like Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix, and just music that I just wasn't familiar with, but I was getting obsessed with it. And then the Bob Dylan thing took me to a whole world of folk music and acoustic guitar, which I could talk about we could do another pod on that. But that song was out their first album, and I just love Robert Plant's voice so much in that song. And this sort of pain in the blues, and I like the way they took the blues and sort of put it in their music, but still made it feel like them. And I think that's just so magical to me, where you're like, damn, that's blues, but that's not blues. It's like it's blues, but it's like this is rock. It's like whatever it is, it's like it's dope, you know.
Low key, it was like sampling before computers existed to sample shit, right? Like you sampled it in your riff. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
My experience real quick with Led Zeppelin, this is so corny, but like we went to the mall one day when I was a kid, and I bought a poster because I really liked it. I was like, Mom, can I please have this poster? It was a Led Zeppelin poster with Stairway to Heaven, a couple lyrics on it, and some cool like creature holding a lantern or something. I just thought it looked cool. I'd never heard Led Zeppelin. I just wanted the poster. And then later, like years later, I listened to him. I was like, oh, that's the lyrics from this poster on my wall. What the
Right,
fuck?
right.
But so I did it so backwards, got the poster before I knew them, cornball shit. But one thing I will say about this tune in particular, what struck me when I listened to it was the idea of structure, right? Like that big part, the dun 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 bum bum, doesn't happen until over a minute into the tune. And nowadays they would get to that shit quick, you know? So it's just interesting the way people had less ADD back then, I guess.
Yeah, I found because I was nervous to put it on because I was like, oh man, I hope this song isn't too long for the playlist because it's like I think it's like a 6 minute song. But I was like, it also makes me wonder if that's like why it still sounds so good because I feel like, you know, there's certain songs I like that, you know, you hear a million times and it's kind of like it loses its like feel. But like every time I hear this song, I'm like, it feels like I'm hearing it for the first time, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't ever get redundant. So I don't know if that has something to do with like how they build it or the arrangement, but and I love the guitar on it. Like he does like every kind of guitar, like he plays with acoustic, he does a little electric, like he does everything in it. So I just figured, oh, this is like a good example of like one of the songs I first heard that got me into playing guitar. And I do play guitar, and I'll probably eventually start doing more rock music and folk music at some point. But I was like, oh, let me sneak that in there and see if people vibe with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say my last thing before we play it, my Led Zeppelin favorite has got to be Rain Song, I think it's called. I just I love the calm, like I love seventh chords. Like, give me the seventh chord. Yeah. Let's listen to a little bit of "Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You" by Led Zeppelin.
I can hear it calling me back home.
And finally, the closer. It's funny, we just talked about long songs. This is the longest song. Get Up, Get Out by Outkast. Goodie Mob is on this as well. 7.5 minutes about. Tell me a bit about why you picked.
It was longer than a Led Zeppelin song. That's crazy.
I know, it's crazy, but tell me a bit about why you picked this one out of the entire Outkast catalog.
I think because I was going back and forth between Goodie Mob and Outkast because I'm a huge Goodie Mob fan, and when I was in it, like, growing up in Atlanta, like I just love Goodie Mob so much. But Outkast is Outkast, and I was like, okay, what's one of my favorite songs that has like most of both of them on? And then Get Up was just also like one of my favorite songs to listen to when I was just like feeling down or whatever, and it kind of put me in good spirits. And I love the like production on it, like the organized noise, but that sort of like, you know, that guitar, you can feel it. And they're a group that uses a lot of live instruments in their production, so you can feel the music. Why a song like this also has a very long lifespan, I feel like. And also shout out to Big Gip, who was also in my movie It's a Party, which, you know, I got the chance to work with him, and I was so lucky to do that. And another person who I like probably doesn't know I'm a rapper, but he probably only sees me as a filmmaker, but I'm like, he's like one of my biggest inspirations. And it's just cool. It's cool that doing film and television has gotten me a chance to meet some of my favorite rappers and stuff, which it's kind of like a cool little perk. But, and yeah, I love CeeLo Green's verse, how he just starts it off. It has like everybody in it. It's like classic, like, you know,
posse cut type thing.
Like, yeah. It's great. Just people going right after each other. I could imagine them all in the studio, like just like, all right, my turn. They're all writing while everyone else is in, you know.
So, okay, it's interesting that you bring that up because my note that I had on it here was, I wonder how they decide the order of the verses. Like, did they try putting like Big Boys first and go, I don't know, there's something about the way C comes in, I don't recall. And you're like, okay, that has to go first. Like, it can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would love to ask them that, like how that works. I know it's like so Dungeon Family too. I feel like the Dungeon Family kind of, from what I hear when I hear in interviews, that first album by Outkast, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, was like kind of a group effort, and they all kind of were doing it together. So I imagine they were all just together the whole time, just like. But yeah, like that era of music is just amazing.
I'm glad you picked something off Southern Playalistic because that one was my favorite growing up as well. Crumbling Herb, I just thought, again, I like the smooth songs. I don't know what it is.
I feel like everything. It sounds like you really like to smoke weed.
Yeah, no, but that's the irony of it, is like I don't even smoke. Like,
oh,
that's
really?
like, well, that's like That's an early.
Maybe you just
Kendrick.
always in
That's
a
an
state
early
of
Kendrick
mind.
bar. I don't even smoke.
Yeah.
He had a song called HOC back in the day. I like that. You picked Southern Playalistic though. That is like to me, and Aquemini and all that is very, very cool as well. Like it's almost like those next albums are like they're just different. It's like a higher plane of being. It's like a different type of thinking. It's almost more conceptual, you know, where Southern Playalistic is like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I think my favorite Outkast album is probably AT Aliens, but I think Southern Playalistic, when I was reading the prompt of like what songs mean a lot to you, is like that album. It's like a lot of it is just like just me feeling away from home and not being, and I don't get to go home to Atlanta a lot, so like albums like that really take me to the city. Like same with T.I. or trap music, but like AT Aliens and Aquemini, all those kind of feel like just almost larger than the city. Like just like they're just like the Beatles, almost like just like really just classic albums that are like in their own category. But yeah, Southern Playalistic's that shit.
I mean, so I said Crumble and Herb off of that one, but I'll leave you with my Outkast overall choice, West Savannah. I just love that one.
Oh yeah, another laid back one. That shit is hard too.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just
it kind of sounds like this one too. The Get Up, Get Out, West Savannah. The production are very similar. Yeah.
The way that Big Boy like crams syllables and then drags syllables, it's so cool because it's like this like things get squished and then they get extended. And it's just such a unique idea. I don't know. It's very cool rhythmically or whatever. All right, let's listen to a little bit of it. Here's Get Up, Get Out by Outkast.
You need to get up, get out, and get something. Cause you and I got to do for you and I don't recall ever graduating at all. Sometimes I feel I'm just a disappointment to y'all. Every day.
And there you go, Lamar. That's the mixtape that you picked. It's awesome. It's beautiful. But this is where you can tell me a couple honorable mentions if you had any.
Oh man, okay.
I know, I put you on the spot.
I know, but I already know it. Well, Ghostface, it was a song off of Supreme Clientele that I was gonna play. Dang, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I think it was gonna be. I wanted something from Ghostface Killer. But then I was like, once I got into a Wu-Tang wormhole, I was like, all right, now I'm just gonna put all these. Then I was like, oh, I'm gonna put Winter Wars on there and Triumph, and I wanted to play like It's Yours. I was like, all right, can we do this again and just talk about Wu-Tang and like just do a whole I'll just do a whole Wu-Tang playlist and I literally was like gonna ask you like, can we just do a Wu-Tang episode? But so what that's an honorable mention. And Ghostface is definitely my favorite member of Wu-Tang Clan. I was gonna put some Mobb Deep on there. I wanted to put Shook ones on there. Tupac. Wanted to put Dear Mama on there. Just like I love the vulnerability of that song, and like to connect what we were talking about earlier. Just like that was like one of the first times I heard someone just be so vulnerable. Like even when I listen to it now, it's like I can't believe he's bringing up some of these things publicly on record, about his mom. So I think that's because that's very hard to do, and definitely like Lauryn Hill is on. A couple of Fuji's joint. I don't know. Yeah, I can't. I can go crazy. I was like, I was like, I can't do this. It's too hard.
It's an endless amount of honorable mentions. And
Lupe almost made it. Lupe Fiasco out Food of Liquor. The first track on Food of Liquor. I can't remember the name of it right now, but
Real is the tune.
Oh,
right?
Real. That's what it's called. Yeah, I was gonna put that song on there. I just love the way that beat comes on. And I was just like, yeah.
Mine off of that one was Hurt Me Soul, which again is like another just low-key ass song.
It's funny. We do have same taste though, because like Hurt Me Soul was in the mix too. Like that, I really like that one. And I think I had a whole story I was going to talk about Hurt Me Soul too.
You know what we'll do? Like one of the future seasons of the show, we'll just do 10 episodes straight of just Lamar episodes, You got all the picks.
We haven't even got to like the other like jazz and all that stuff. Because I'm a big jazz person. I love indie rock, like that whole 2000 era with like TV on the radio and Arcade Fire. Like, so I'm like, man, we haven't like barely crushed the surface. But those 6 were dope though. Those 6 were like a good introduction for people who don't know me.
Yes, those 6 were awesome. And then honorable mentions, it sounds like it's the rest of the music catalog in the world.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to play a game and we'll get the hell out of here. All right, it's time for the game. And we're playing Build the Bill. I love this game. This is the version of that same shit you see like in memes where it's like you get 15 bucks and you get to pick, like, you spend your budget on building, in this case, your dream bill at like a show or like a festival day or something like that. So today we're doing New York City hip hop. Because you brought it up a lot. I knew you loved Nas. Yeah. I was like, let's do it. We'll see what happens. So here, let me run you through our tier list. In the $5 tier, we got Nas, we got Biggie, we got Jay-Z, we got Wu-Tang. That's everybody together.
I know.
and 50. In the $4 tier, Pop Smoke, Big Pun, Tribe Called Quest, ASAP Rocky, and DMX. In the $3 tier, Mos Def, Mobb Deep, Big L, Cameron, Jadakiss.
Oh man, you wildin' having Mobb Deep in $3 and Big L.
I'll tell you, people always come after me for the way I list them, but it's just like I want to make it a little more like kind of controversial, more fun, you know. Gotcha. $2 tier, we got Cardi B, Fabulous, LL Cool J, Joey Badass, and Styles P. And $1 tier, we got Jim Jones, Mace, Lil Kim, French Montana, and Ice Spice.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so you got $15, Lamar. Walk me through what you're thinking.
Okay. Well, so right now, what's in my mind right now is the fact that some of these artists have passed away. So it's kind of like, it's like they're kind of going to the top of the list just because I would love to have seen them live. But so I'm gonna go ahead and say, let's start with Big L, because I love Big L, and I feel like that would be, I just want to experience that because I don't even know what that would be like to see that live. So that's at $3. So what's that got me, like 12 now?
12 left, yep.
Okay. See, what's interesting, because all my favorite artists, between like Wu-Tang and Nas, I've seen them like a million times. So I'm actually like, I could actually save some money there. I would say let's put Jadakiss in there. This $3 one is kind of like right in the sweet spot.
So you got 9 left.
Okay, Pop Smoke. I love Pop Smoke. He's gone. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. He was gone way too soon because I listened to it. I kind of discovered him later after he passed. But his shit is dope.
You got 5 left.
Damn, man. Let me get some more money. 5 left. Okay, we'll gotta do Nas just because. I want to see. I think Nas is great.
All right. I mean, hey, that makes sense. That's exactly how I kind of pictured it. I pictured you would get Nas at least. I honestly didn't think you would not take Wu-Tang. I thought you were going to do that, but I've seen Wu-Tang live like probably once a year. Like I went to see them in Vegas. I went to see them. I saw the concert they did with Nas when they went on tour. And that was awesome. I watched them when they were my first concert I ever went to when I was in high school. So I'm like a huge Wu-Tang fan. So I just had to save my money. Like it's literally like real life. Like I'm like, okay. do I want to spend money on this or do I want to spend money to go see? Another one who I'm surprised you didn't take is DMX because you brought up DMX earlier.
Oh yeah. No, that would have been man, can I change it? Let's do DMX.
Sure.
All right. Instead of Nas, let's do DMX and then we'll do Ice Spice. Just because like I want to see what that concert is like.
Okay, yes, this is actually the most incredible like festival day ever. It's Big L,
Big L, Jadakiss, Pop Smoke,
DMX, and Ice Spice. That is a hell of a lineup right there. All right, Lamar. I love the bill that you built. I think we'll see if the people in the comments like it. I think they will. I think they're gonna. You redeemed yourself by putting Ice Spice on there. They're gonna love it. Okay. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about where they can find you and what you've got coming up? And keeping in mind, this comes out March 5th.
March 5th. So if you're in the LA area, I'm always gonna be at UCB the first Friday of every month doing improv with my group, The Big Team. If you want to support my album, it's available on all streaming sites. But if you want to support me directly, you can actually buy the album from me directly because I'm an independent artist. Just go to www.thelamarwoods.com. It'll pop right up and it'll download right to your computer. And follow me on Instagram at PORPHMATIC, Profmatic. Yeah, and stay in touch with me. And if you do listen to the album, like, let me know what you think. Hit me up. I genuinely want to know. So, that's what's up. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Hell yeah, amazing. Listeners, viewers, as always, you know, we've got these mixtapes that we do, these little cassette tapes. Every quarter, we send out a tape. So they've got independent artists, DIY artists on them. This one, I don't know, it's not coming into focus, but it's from December 2025. The new ones, by the time this episode comes out, they'll be in the mail. They might even be in the listeners' hands. You can support at tapeclub.substack.com. If you sign up, you'll get, you know, those. You'll get this podcast. You'll get the full mixtapes. You'll get my radio show. It's a great deal. It's a pretty fun thing to do. Lamar, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate you being
man.
here.
This was so fun, man. I love it. And you guys, I knew you had good taste too. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try. That's why I was like, I wonder if he knows the Rome Streetz. I was like, I'm gonna get him with this one.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to the whole Olivia Dean record and then Rome Streetz after we get off. Shout out to Olivia Stonier, our associate producer, and shout out to Jamie Halliday and Jonah Evans for helping with booking. And also shout out to you, the listener and the viewer. Thank you for listening and viewing, and I will see you next time. Peace. The J-Card podcast is a fully independent production. It is made possible by listeners and viewers just like you. So if you want to support us, tapeclub.substack.com is the place to go.